Hi, it's Sarah, your friendly neighborhood prevention specialist, and it is Tuesday, which means that it is time for grades 3 through 5 uh, to take a class. So let's do it. All right, today is, let's see, Tuesday, April 14th, and today we're going to talk about coping skills and the anger iceberg. Now, if you go to our Google Classroom, you can print off the materials there. If you can't print them off, it's perfectly okay. We're going to go through everything in the video like always, and you can just write things down on a blank sheet of paper. Hopefully you can see this. This says anger iceberg. We're going to get to this in the second half. So the first half of this today is we're going to talk about coping skills and trusted adults. So I think this is a really good thing to talk about right now because we're all kind of having a tough time figuring out how to cope with what is our new normal. It's not our forever normal. This will end and we will all go back to school and go back to work and do things that we used to do. We'll all be able to go back to grandma and grandpa's and go fishing and do all the things that we used to do. We just can't do it right now. And it's uncertain when we'll be able to do those things. So sometimes we have a hard time coping with that. So that's why we're going to talk about that today. So sometimes you get a feeling that, have you ever heard the words gut instinct or instinct? So this is when your inner alarm system is telling you that something is off or maybe something is wrong. Excuse me, I have lots of hair and it gets in my mouth and in my lip gloss. Anyway, so that is your inner alarm telling you that something is off. Sometimes we get like our stomachs hurt or our stomachs feel churny. Sometimes we get a headache. But you know when something is not right. You know when something's wrong, when a situation isn't right. You know that when something is not good. And all animals in the animal kingdom have this instinct. Sometimes maybe you're watching Planet Earth or one of those nature shows and you see like a whole bunch of gazelles or deer or something, and they're all grazing, and all of a sudden all their little heads come up and they look the same way. That's their instinct, their gut, their inner alarm system telling them something is wrong. Let me just grab my note here. Okay. And we all have that. So I want you to trust that instinct. That is your inner alarm telling you that something is wrong and that maybe you need to talk to a trusted adult. Who are trusted adults? These are people in our lives who love us a lot, who only want the best for us, and they're the people who take care of us. Now, I'm an adult and I still have my trusted adults that I go to, like my parents, my husband, my best friend. Maybe your trusted adults are a mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, an older sibling, cousins, teacher, counselor, whoever those adults are that take care of you and want the best for you and love you. Those are your trusted adults. So we're going to read a book really quick called A Terrible Thing Happened. This is a really cute book, and it's got a very cute little raccoon on it. So we're going to read this book, and then we're going to talk more about trusted adults and instincts. Sherman Smith saw the most terrible thing. He was very upset. It really scared Sherman to see such a terrible thing. Sherman did not like feeling so afraid. He did not want to remember what happened. So Sherman decided not to think about the terrible thing he saw. Sherman thought that would make him feel better. At first, the plan seemed to work. Sherman woke up every morning, he brushed his teeth, and he went to school. Sherman played with his friends, he teased his sister, and he walked his dog. Everything seemed all right for a while, but something inside of Sherman was starting to bother him. Sherman had to play more, run faster, and sing louder in order to forget the terrible thing he saw. Other things started happening to Sherman too. Sometimes he did not feel hungry. Sometimes his stomach hurt or his head hurt. Sometimes he felt sad, but he did not know why. Sometimes he was nervous for no reason at all. Sometimes he did not sleep very well. Sometimes when he did sleep, he had bad dreams. The bad dreams scared Sherman. All of these things made Sherman angry. It seemed like Sherman was angry all the time. Sherman started getting into trouble at school. Sometimes he felt so angry that he did mean things. Getting into trouble so often made Sherman feel bad. Sherman did not understand all of his bad feelings. He felt confused. Sometimes parents help children figure out their feelings. Sometimes teachers or other grown-ups help. That's how Sherman met Miss Maple. Miss Maple helped Sherman think about his feelings. She listened while Sherman talked to her. They played while they talked. Sherman did not feel as mixed up when he talked to Miss Maple. Once, when Sherman and Miss Maple were coloring, she told him to draw a picture of how he felt when he was angry. This seemed like a strange thing to draw, but Sherman did it. After that, Sherman drew lots of pictures. Pictures of the pain in his stomach, pictures of the bad dreams he had, pictures of the fear he felt. And at last, pictures of the terrible thing he saw. Sherman and Miss Maple talked about the pictures. He asked if the terrible thing he saw was his fault. Sherman said he worried about that a lot. No, Miss Maple told Sherman, it was not your fault. Sherman told Miss Maple a lot of things. He told her about the bad dreams. He told her how scared he felt. It was all very hard to do, but Miss Maple was so proud that Sherman was trying to talk about such hard things. Sherman felt that it felt good to let his feelings out. Feeling good helped Sherman feel stronger. When Sherman felt stronger, he did not feel so angry. Nothing can change the terrible thing that Sherman saw, but now he does not feel so mean. He is not so scared or worried. His stomach does not hurt as much, and the bad dreams hardly ever happen. Sherman Smith is feeling much better now. He just thought you would want to know. And that's the end of the book. I like that. It never does tell us what the terrible thing is that he saw. Of course, it could be anything. It could be the death of a loved one or a car crash. It could be somebody getting hurt. It could be a scary movie. We don't know. We don't know what it is. But what we do know is that Sherman did the right thing and he talked to a trusted adult. And that really helped. Even if you're embarrassed, even if you're worried, even if you're afraid you're going to get in trouble, it's always, always good to talk to a trusted adult about how you feel or about something that maybe happened to you. So there's this sheet called Who Would You Tell? And see, we have this little guy here, and then we have these circles. You can print that off on Google Classroom, and if you can't, that's okay. I'm going to read what it says, and then we'll talk about what you can do on a blank sheet of paper. Who would you tell? If you ever feel sad and blue and need someone to talk to, you'd need someone to lend an ear, who would let you talk, who'd want to hear. Even if it was really hard to say, they'd never turn you away. No matter what you had to tell, they stayed calm. They wouldn't yell. They'd be there to help you out. They'd stand by you without a doubt. It is a big person's job to keep your body safe and sound. If you ever need a helping hand to come around, who would you tell? Who would it be? Who is in your circle of safety? So at the bottom here, it says you, and then there are circles around it. There's 5 circles. So on a blank piece of paper, I would want you to write the word me, and then draw 4 or 5 circles around that, around the word me, and I want you to fill in who your trusted adults are. If you want, you can write a name. If you want, you can draw their picture. But I want you to think, and I want you to come up with at least 4 trusted adults. Anybody that you can go and talk to when you're feeling sad or mad or frustrated, or if something bad has happened and you need to talk about it. Again, that could be a mom, a dad, a foster parent, a teacher, a counselor. It could be a cousin, an aunt or uncle, grandma and grandpa. It could be anybody, whoever those adults are in your life that care about you. We have adults that work at Beyond Survival, where I work, which is the Sexual Assault Resource Center for Grays Harbor, Washington. And they are trusted adults because they listen and they help people who have been affected by sexual violence. So those are some great trusted adults, advocates. All right, so I want you to do that on a blank piece of paper or on that piece of paper that I showed you. If you can print it off from Google Classroom. So let's talk a little bit more about the book that we just read. What do you think the terrible thing was that Sherman saw? How was he feeling? Is it a comfortable or an uncomfortable feeling? What did Sherman try to do about the terrible thing? Well, at first, he tried to chase it away, right? What happened when he tried to forget the terrible thing? What finally helped Sherman feel better? Well, that was talking and coping skills. Who is someone you can talk to when you have uncomfortable feelings? What kinds of things do you do to feel better? Sherman drew pictures and of his nightmares and the bad thing that happened, and he talked to someone. Drawing pictures is great. Writing things down is great. Talking to someone is always the best thing to do. Talking to one of your trusted adults. That's always a really, really good thing to do. But remember, at first, Sherman got angry because he couldn't chase the bad thing away. He couldn't chase away the bad dreams, the tummy aches, the headaches, and things like that. And so he started kind of lashing out. So what we know is anger. Uh-oh, I dropped my pen. I got to get it. Okay. So anger is what's called a secondary emotion. So what is a secondary emotion? That means that when you're angry, it's because of a bunch of other things. So when you're angry about something like Sherman was angry and he was lashing out and he was getting in trouble, what were some of the things that he was feeling besides anger? What was underneath all of that anger? There's fear. He was feeling frustrated because he couldn't make the bad things go away no matter how much he played or what he did. What else is under anger? Loneliness. Loneliness. Sometimes when people feel lonely, they get angry. Abandonment or neglect. Feeling neglected can make us feel angry. Fear is a big one. Loneliness, abandonment or neglect, feeling frustrated. How about feeling left out? Feeling left out sometimes can make us feel angry. So here's anger, but underneath, see, it's kind of like an iceberg. So underneath the water, this is supposed to be water, um, there's all kinds of other emotions that happen. So fear is anger is a secondary emotion to all these other things. And there's lots and lots of other things. And I would love to hear from you what those other things are that you might be feeling when all you're showing is that you feel angry. What is it underneath all of that besides fear and loneliness, besides feeling frustrated, all of those things? What else is there? I'd love to hear those. Drop them in the comments below the video. I'd love to hear from you, or in Google Classroom. So what we know is all of these, sometimes there are multiple things that then we feel angry. So what happens when we're angry? Well, sometimes we lash out at other people. Sometimes we scream, yell. Sometimes we hurt other people. Sometimes we get hurt. So what we have to do is we have to address these things under here before it gets to here, before it gets to anger. We need to address all of these things under there. And the best way to do that is to talk to someone that you trust. Talking to someone that you trust. And these trusted adults, they want to hear about this. They want to know. They want to know what's going on with you. And sometimes it's hard to find the words to articulate how you're feeling. But you can say, I'm really frustrated. I'm angry because I was left out. I'm frustrated because I've been stuck in my house for weeks now, and I want to go out and play with my friends. And it's okay to feel frustrated, and it's okay. These things, it's okay when you feel them. It's not okay to get to this point, though, where we hurt someone or hurt ourselves, or lash out. So we need to deal with all these things. And that's where talking to your trusted adults comes in. You can also, again, you can draw pictures. You can journal, which is writing. You can paint. There are lots and lots of things that you can do. You can go for a walk. You can, there's lots of different ways to let off steam and to cope. It's called self-care. And there's lots of ways that you can do that. Exercise, art, listening to music, watching one of your favorite shows, playing video games. If you need to kind of decompress until you can talk about these things. Those things don't take the place of talking to someone about it and dealing with all of those, because then what happens is, like Sherman, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop until you're able to process through all of those emotions. So let's see. Talked about the anger iceberg. I'm going through all of my notes because I want to make sure that that I don't miss anything. So, and remembering, this is just a small portion. This is like 10% of what's going on. The other 90% is all underwater. It's all things that people aren't seeing. This is what folks are seeing. These are the things that they're not seeing. All right. So I would love to hear about something that maybe you did when you were angry that maybe didn't work out so well. Like maybe you kicked a table and you hurt your foot, or you threw something of yours and broke it. When I teach this in classrooms, we get to talk about it. Different students get to share their experiences, and we talk about things. Maybe you were angry and you went and talked to an adult, and you were able to cope and work through those feelings. So we would talk about that in the classroom. Again, I would love to hear them in the comments. Anger is not a bad emotion. It's just telling us that something's wrong. If we're angry, that's how we know something's wrong. It's how we react. that can be unhealthy or healthy. Going and talking to an adult, taking time to decompress so that you're not so angry when it's time to talk. So again, those coping skills, those taking time to decompress, whether it's music, video games, art, exercise, whatever it is that you need to do so that you can go talk to someone. If you feel that it's best to decompress when you talk to someone, let that be the first thing you do. Let that be your go-to. So again, if you have a hard time figuring out sometimes what is under that anger, try to think about the last time you were really angry about something and what emotions did you feel right before you got angry? Did you feel left out? Did you feel neglected? Did you feel frustrated? Did you feel sad? What was it that you felt? Did you feel lonely? Did you feel cheated? Whatever it is that you felt before you got angry. So I want you to think about that next time you're angry. Okay, what was it I was feeling about right before I got here? What are all the things that happened down here before I got here? All right. So I would love to hear how many trusted adults you came up with. I'm hoping you come up with at least 4. You can come up with more than that. Write down who your trusted adults are. If you like to draw and do art, you can draw them and keep them in your room or put them on the fridge somewhere that it reminds you, so that next time that you're angry or you're feeling any of these emotions, you can go pick one of those people to talk to. Somebody who's not going to yell and freak out, somebody who's going to listen and help you get through those. Feel free to drop comments in the comments below the video, and or on Google Classroom. Feel free to drop comments there. There are things there that you can print off, but you don't. If you can't print them, that's okay, because we already went through everything, and you can just draw on a blank sheet of paper. So I hope that you all have a really wonderful day and a really wonderful rest of your week, 3rd through 5th graders. I will be back with you next Tuesday, where we will do another fun class. Until then, think about, before you get angry, think about all the things that you feel and go talk to a trusted adult. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. Parents, educators, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything. And until I see you next Tuesday, be kind and wash your hands. Take care.